Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL Broadcast Studios, it's Patrick Reusse with Sports Talk.
It's going to be a steamer, man. What a weekend. What a Memorial Day weekend. I wonder what the Indy 5, we're going to talk to Jordan Bianchi later about the Indy 500. Those vehicles could be a little toasty on Sunday.
Dixon won the pit contest today.
Oh, who, fastest?
Yeah, fastest pit thing. It's carb day at Indy today and final practice, and I guess it went pretty well. I think
we still have carb day, even though we haven't had carburetors for 50 years.
You know, it's all about the promotion and the making money and having fun. I was watching a bunch of it on NBC today, and oh my goodness, what a madhouse! I've had buddies that have been gone there, and they say guys are passed out in the middle of the golf field. It's debauchery. And so they were around the infield with the cameras, and there's some guys that I'm sure are passed out already.
I have several friends of the who were sports writers at Indy for years.
Yeah.
And, they never miss the night before just going through the parking lot and checking out the scenes because there was a big kind of open grass field next door that
it's Sodom and Gomorrah, Patrick.
Guys come rolling in there, man.
Is it fun for a non-race fan to go to one of those?
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, it'd be like these old concerts at the Met. I used to go to the tailgate party and never go in the building. Why not just go there and have fun?
Sure.
The problem with watching the race is if your eyes are trained for a stock car race.
Yeah.
You can't tell who
No, because these are 200
these
plus.
These are different animals.
Yeah.
I mean, they go by with a little whistle, and they're gone, and you say, I think I saw some blue. Maybe that was Andretti or somebody.
Right, you've got to know their color scheme. The great thing about Danica is when she goes by at 210, you can tell because she's driving that green GoDaddy car.
Yeah.
And this is her last Indy race,
yes,
too, by the way.
Allegedly, she's finished. Yeah.
She's finished, I think she's staring in the third row, if I remember right.
Yeah, she had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
I would think that they'd try to get her back in the Indy cars, but she says no.
She was always better at that. And actually more respected, too. The guys in the stock cars didn't give her...
I think that they certainly are difficult to drive the Indy cars because of the speed, the way the corners come up on you and stuff, but they're easier to handle.
Yes, much easier.
You don't need as much strength to handle the damn thing.
Right, and it's just a twitch on that half wheel. Yep.
Yeah, and she's been pretty good at in Indy races, but it's certainly not what it used to be, but it's the actual race, because it used to be, guys, a month, as Kenny knows.
Right.
It used to be a month.
Yep.
They had 2 weekends of qualifying. They'd get 100,000. The first weekend of qualifying, they get 150,000 people.
Just to watch them run time trials.
Yes. The second weekend, they'd probably get 50 would show up because they'd have about 8 spots left that they'd give away.
Yep.
And then that Thursday, which I think Carb Day used to be Thursday,
right?
Would be, they'd have a big crowd for that too.
How many have you covered them? Have you been there?
I've been, I think 4. Yeah.
Wow.
I went to the first one after the split.
Really?
When it was bring anything you want. We have no requirements. And Tony Stewart was there, and he had a rocket ship.
Yeah.
But he was good for 4 laps.
Right.
You know,
They don't have a lifespan.
He was the fastest, and he was a young, skinny guy, and just an Indy, a guy who'd been a dirt racer, and they all loved him, and he lasted about 10 minutes.
I've been to that track 3 times, but I've never seen a race there. I've just been going through Indy, and let's swing in and look at
Well,
it.
they used to have a golf course. Basically, half of a golf course it's so big inside.
In the infield.
Half of a golf course on there. And then the other half was kind of out. Yeah, it's an amazing, 2.5 miles around the amount of land that creates in the middle. It's astounding.
And it's kind of a square track. Yeah, I mean, it's an oval, but those corners are pretty tight.
They come up on you tight. Yeah. I've been there for 3 or 4 Indies, but I also was at the first Brickyard and a couple other Brickyards.
Oh, were you? Oh, yeah, interesting.
I think Gordon won the first Brickyard. Yeah, I was at the first.
Is that pretty boring watching the stock cars on that track? I've had no interest in going to big super speed races.
They did not. They never thought they were great races because they couldn't race 3x3 on that thing. Those cars are too damn big.
So then why have it? They're just the nostalgic purpose?
When they first had it, it was huge.
Oh, sure.
Because that was also the heyday of NASCAR.
Of NASCAR, yeah.
And they got them in. Indy wanted them. And they did great the first couple of times. But my dear friend Charlie Hallman, the late great Charlie Hallman, was covering the first Brickyard when I covered it too, and informed me that I think I'd been at an Indy 500, but he informed me, you better be here at 4:30 in the morning. You won't be able to get through the traffic. Because that's for the Indy 500, you had to do that.
Yeah.
I think the Brickyard was starting like at 1 in the afternoon, too. I got there. I could have been on Highway 100 at 3 a.m. Breezed in there. I'm sitting, and the fence isn't, and the gate isn't even open yet. He did it to me again.
He duped you?
I ended up sleeping in my car for about 2 hours waiting to get in
home
there.
And bless his heart.
Charlie.
He was so awesome.
And I beat him there by an hour or something like that. So.
The friends I know usually roll in their race day around 6, 7 in the morning. They park far away. But then they hop on a bed of a truck of one of the rednecks rolling in and just get a ride in with random strangers. It's just one big happy family.
That's cool.
Until everybody gets drunk and starts fighting.
I said Earnhardt was the best.
How many years ago was the split? Over 20 now, right?
Yeah, it's been
Tony
a long
George
time
decided that he was going to take control of it.
That was
from
ugly.
Cart and messed it up.
Kenny, why do you think what is not the downfall, but the popularity? Why is it down from a couple of years ago?
Reusse, you got a reason? I don't.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
The same people who like soccer better than baseball now because it only takes 2 hours and stuff
they don't like the
they're
racing.
anti-car. They rather take Uber. They're not. It's the car does not have its hold on America.
But it wasn't that long ago that racing was really popular in this country.
A decade ago, it was still going good, and hell, in the 80s and 90s, it was huge.
And NASCAR's been messing with the program now. Now they're doing races and stages, and they've got that whole point system they're doing, which just confuses the old dum-dums like me. Yeah. But my wife is addicted to it, and she loves the new format. She says it's great.
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
I went to I went to Petty's last Daytona 500 was the first one I ever went to, and I went to 7 or 8 of them after that. And they were pretty big. I went to Talladega after Davey Allison got killed in the
infield
helicopter
crash.
And I went down there. I was down there because he was from right next door in Hueytown. Mm-hmm. And I went down there for 3-4 days and hung out. And we damn near lost 2 guys on that day at Talladega. Neil Bonnet, who would make his comeback in honor of Davey Allison, put it in the fence.
Right.
And then he got killed a year later at Daytona.
Yep.
And then and a guy named Stan Smith,
I don't remember him,
went out of the ballpark.
Wow.
That one turn. He went over the fence and out of the ballpark, and they told us, all they really told us was Stan was alive. But that's, and then I was there when Dale died. But that's creepy, man, when you see him cover up the automobile.
Yeah.
When they bring it back in and they cover it. But they're much safer than they used to be.
Because of that?
Remember when Dale died, that race?
I sure do. Yeah, I watched every lap.
What people don't recall is that Tony Stewart was up in the air.
Yeah.
Over on the backside like this.
Yep.
And came down and landed. If he'd landed on his top, he probably would
have
had 2 guys that day.
Didn't Michael Waltrip win that race?
Yes.
And he was driving
Dale's car.
For Dale.
And Junior was second, I think.
Right. Yeah.
They were 1-2, and And but Dale was a little distracted.
That's right, because when Junior finished, I remember, the first thing he did, he got out of his car and he just sprinted toward because he knew he had to get to the hospital.
And after that crash, and Kyle Petty's son, I can't remember his name, he crashed shortly there. Shortly thereafter, that year or a couple of years later, and after that, they started putting in all the safer barriers. And boy, those have saved.
Adam didn't die though, did he?
I can't remember his name. One of the Petty boys died, and it was Loudon, or I don't remember where. But he nosed into the wall just like Dale did, and after that, they went crazy.
Different sport, man. Did you see Did you ever see the documentary on Senna? It's on Netflix.
Oh yes.
That Formula One back in the day, if you ran at the top level of that, it was about 50-50.
Every race.
But you're going to 50-50.
Every race was your last race. You had to go out there with that attitude.
Yes.
Yep.
And Senna was, I remember once seeing a photo of like the top 15 guys from a Formula One sometime in the 70s, Peter Revson and that whole crew. 11 of them were dead, like 12 years later.
Holy cow.
12 or 13 years later.
Well,
and now that Formula One's a lot safer too.
But they're still losing them.
Oh yeah, not like they used to.
But you're right, it's a lot better.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back here. This is the pre-game show to the Friday Fun Fest.
That's right.
And boy, this is going to be a fun one. We got some great music, and later on, a special encore appearance of Randy from Cottage Grove, and he's going to tell us how to make what product?
Wapatui.
Wapatui is apparently the youth of America, or not necessarily the youth. It's a taste treat for holiday weekend backyard parties.
Absolutely.
And he has a secret Wapatui recipe that Judd and Phil tell me he was reluctant to share, as a matter of fact. He was reluctant to share it.
He didn't want to give up a secret recipe.
About 5:40 something this afternoon, you'll be able to get Randy's Wapatui recipe. Even though I haven't had a cocktail for 37 years, it is on a weekend like this.
Oh.
The first weekend of summer, and it's summer, 90 degrees. Mm-hmm. A guy cannot help flashing back to a well-made gin and tonic. And what would happen on a week like this would be you would start off as a gin and tonic connoisseur, right? You'd have kind of a fairly tall glass. I didn't like the cloudy ones. A lot of people like the clouded glass.
Oh, you didn't like the cloudy?
Oh, I like to see the fizz.
Okay.
Okay.
And you would put in a couple of shots of gin, okay? Sure. A Tanqueray, usually. Although Bombay certainly served this purpose, too. Bombay was fine. Those were two. And none of these flavored, you do not do this with one of these flavored gins.
Oh, like not even a lavender gin? Oh, man.
Just straight gin.
You take the straight Boodles. That was okay, too. Okay, a couple of shots. And the lime deal, there you could use a lemon, but mostly a lime. It's just a very subtle, almost the peel. You don't cut off a hunk and squirt it in there and throw it in. No. About 3 cubes, 2 shots of gin, and then a little slice of of lime. And you always had to have limes in the house. In fact,
so how much tonic water are we talking then?
I don't know how many times I asked my first bride, "Did you get any limes?" when she came back from the grocery store.
So how do you know how much tonic water to actually have in there?
Well, whatever's left. Whatever's left. The first one, I'm telling you, and you get it in there, and then you get everything kind of ready, and then you pour in the tonic, and you get that right above the glass. You get a little purple haze, and it goes. Now that's the first one of the weekend.
Yes.
So it's
got to start it off right.
Yeah. It's an art.
Yes.
I know a guy.
Got to start that weekend off right.
By Memorial Day, like 3:00 in the afternoon on Monday, that guy's just pretty much throwing in a few cubes, filling it up with gin and cutting the taste a little bit with the tonic. Or you could have the Reusse lime. You could have the other thing, if you're not cutting the lime, you could have that little Reusse lime that you pour in there. But that's kind of cheap.
Usually Monday afternoon, it might even get to the point where you're saying, crap, we're out of ice.
I always liked cold drink. I never liked warm drinks.
I don't, yeah, I'm with you.
I never could drink warm
I know a guy
drinks.
when he's making his too, he'll say, I'll ask you, well, how much, like as Manny said, how much tonic are you putting in? He'd say, I waved the cap over the top.
Well, I do a little more. Funny thing is, I couldn't drink martinis. I love gin, but I couldn't. They didn't
a little
do
too
it
harsh?
for me.
A little too harsh?
Yeah, they didn't do it for me. There's no doubt about it. But a well-made gin and tonic has got that.
Now, did your flavor change throughout the year, or were you strictly pretty much gin and tonic?
I was drinking, but in the summer, it was an art. In the winter, it was a bad habit. In the winter, you didn't care. You just, where's the gin?
Just throw them together and
where's the gin? And you'd cut it with a little bit of tonic, and that was it, because in the winter. But the summer, it's the greatest summer drink if you're drinking alcoholic beverages. And I used to really, I found it personally offensive, and pretty much, mostly women, by the way, but personally offensive when somebody'd say, I don't like gin. It tastes like what did I can't even remember what they.
My wife says it tastes like pine needles.
Pine needle. That's what they used to all say.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Are we talking gin?
Talking gin. It tastes like heaven.
Yes, it
It
does.
tastes like heaven. It doesn't taste like pine needles. All the great drinkers drank gin.
That was one of the. I think that was the third liquor on the list that I had to finally say no more to.
Yeah.
Because you just get so out of hand. But my deal, Patrick, was gin martinis. You pour the vermouth in, you swish it around, and then you pour it out. Mm-hmm. And then you pour in the gin and maybe an ice cube or two, maybe.
And by the way, that's the other thing. Vodka martini, sorry.
No,
it's not
gross.
You can call it a vodka martini,
but it's not.
All martinis are gin-based.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the other thing. You have to be gin-based. Now, my father was a exceptionally strong martini drinker. As I've told you guys, he used to say, I'm going to just have one tonight. And he'd have a great big stirring glass. He had one of those stirring tubes that was about 3 inches wide, and he'd fill that up. And
it was a thermos.
He'd throw his stuff in, and I'm going to have one martini.
Just one.
Of course, he would drink martinis in many forms, but his preference was to have an anchovy stuffed olive to go with it.
Yeah.
And they're hard to find now, anchovy olives, but he used to take those with him to restaurants. He'd go into a fine restaurant and bring his own olives.
I always had the olives, but I never ate them. I just used them for flavor.
The anchovy olive. Yeah. But if you're going to go out and drink this weekend, and we're not suggesting you drink to excess, gin. It's the only way. If you want to be a real drinker, you must drink gin. Otherwise, you're an imposter.
Sports Talk will be back.
We got Reusse today?
I think we do. Yes, he's waiting in the wings. And
let the record show, after he said imposter, he eased back in the seat like he had just issued a degree.
Concluded.
Yep.
Drop the mic.
The end.
It's time for the Your Money Now report, courtesy of Federated Insurance. Bruce Vail is here with Your Money Now.
As someone who has an aversion to olives and doesn't really care for anchovies, I can't think of anything worse than an olive stuffed with an anchovy. Stocks ended the week mixed today after we had 2 days of gains and 2 days of declines. The Dow Jones Industrial Average today fell 58 points to 24,753. The Nasdaq Composite gained 9 points and the S&P 500 lost 6. But it was a winning week. All three indexes had small gains this week. Due to escalating tuition and easy credit, there are now 101 people in the country who owe at least $1 million in federal student loans. 5 years ago, there were 14. The Wall Street Journal says more people could soon be joining that group, as Education Department data shows there are about 2.5 million people who have at least $100,000 in student loan debt. Shareholders at McDonald's have rejected a proposal to ban plastic straws at the company's 37,000 outlets, a proposal that environmental activists had argued could help save marine life threatened by a worldwide explosion of plastic pollution. I'm Bruce Vail with your money now on 1500 ESPN.
Okay, Bruce, have a nice long weekend, and if you do survive it, we'll talk to you again on Tuesday. We're going to check traffic here, and of course, the outbound side of everything is backed and stacked. This one sponsored by Indeed. Westbound 94, the worst, highly objectionable between 610 and Albertville. And now we have a wreck on the left side at Weaver Lake Road. And then up in Forest Lake, northbound I-35, burning up those brakes between the Split and US 8, about 15, 20 minutes. Are you hired?
Boy, we have some good musical guests today and later today. Summery stuff, but this is pretty good.
Pat's liked to walk, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Hey, Johnny Heidt.
Yes, sir.
Are you old enough to remember when Memorial Day was Decoration Day? Have you ever heard it? Were you ever around when they called it Decoration Day?
I do not recall that, no.
And now I'm not sure when it officially changed, but America was a better place when Memorial Day / Decoration Day, which actually goes all the way back to the Civil War, was on May 30th every year.
Every year.
Not on the Monday.
Oh.
Because the way we have her worked out now, remember we used to complain if it was in the middle of the week because you couldn't get any days, you didn't have any days. We got her figured out now in America that if it's on Tuesday, it's a 5-day, it's a 4.5-day weekend, right? Mm-hmm. You all take it. Yeah. Everybody takes Monday off, Tuesday off. And if it's on a Wednesday, everybody takes the end of the next week off.
Right.
So back in they moved it so everybody could enjoy a 3-day weekend. But in modern society, we're better off if we put it back in the middle.
Just like Christmas.
4th of July.
Just like we do. Yeah, 4th of July and Christmas.
That's right. So let's start. That's part of my campaign, too. Let's start Return to Decoration Day on May 30th.
I'm just wondering, a place like this, because we're a little light on personnel around the building right now. I wonder how that would affect us.
Well, we'd have a lot of best-ups.
I think I could do my job without pants on today. Virtually nobody here. Johnny, can we mention your vacation schedule?
Well, if you want, sure.
Because it's genius.
Okay.
I believe you're taking Tuesday, Wednesday.
That's it. Just Tuesday, Wednesday is all I took off.
But Johnny, so what is the date this year of Memorial Day? The 26th?
The 28th.
28th.
Right.
So this year it would be on the Wednesday.
Correct.
So you'd be taking
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'd be getting 5 days with only 2 days of vacation.
That's what he's doing now.
I'm using 2 days of vacation now. And after today, I'll only work 2 of the next 9 days. So
that's how he likes to
using
word
2 days of vacation.
What you work for an ad agency? you sure do know how to spin things.
Okay.
I'm wondering, the little chart that I have above that calendar.
Yeah.
How would that Mayoral Wednesday look if that was on a Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. That's right. He's only used one so far, right?
No, because now he knows he's being monitored.
Okay.
What I don't understand is the missing sycophant. I don't know how he magically disappears on Friday afternoon.
That's a good point.
I don't know. That's apparently he's
he gets a head full of bad ideas when he doesn't have an ass to kiss.
All right, here he is, Johnny Heidt.
Thanks, Patrick. Partly sunny. We're up to 88 degrees now. Twins back at it tonight after a day off. They're out on the West Coast playing Seattle. Fernando Romero goes for the Twins. Tough lefty James Paxton goes for Seattle.
Speaking of our favorite arse kisser,
yes,
his attempt to shield the information on what else he has going on in his life, might have suffered a blow now that his name's on a plaque in a public building.
Yeah. Plus, half of the Twin Cities is recognized among their way out or in.
Well, he still thinks it's a secret. Yeah. Don't worry. The way things are going, nobody will be flying that airline anyway. So okay.
He also posted a gigantic picture on Facebook of himself standing with said plaque. So I think that kind of blew everything out of the water at that point.
So we can reveal to the public that Kenny laid it on a little thick about Sun Country yesterday. More to agitate his coworkers.
Just for one person, because I have no beef against Sun Country whatsoever, none whatsoever.
But what I love about that gig is everyone that's working there with him is convinced he's the undercover boss.
Yeah,
that's the best part about it. So nobody will talk to him. It's great.
Town Ball Classic tomorrow at Target Field.
Yeah.
3 games, 10 a.m. the Class C game, Kimball and Lake Henry. 1 p.m. the Class B game, Meesville and Victoria. 4 p.m. the Class A game, the Minneapolis All-Stars against the St. Paul All-Stars. Easy to get tickets. Just go to 1500ESPN.com. You'll get all the details. You can pick up a ticket. Keyword is Town Ball. Only $10 for all 3.
Oh, and it's going to be a cooker.
Toasty.
Is the Bat and Barrel open?
I don't believe so, because the only concessions, the only level is the main level that's going to be open that day. And then they're only opening the 2 concession stands that are directly behind home plate on both sides of Herbeck's there. And we're going to sell some beer tomorrow with it being 90 plus.
The news notes from today: by a vote of 13-0, the Minneapolis City Council this morning approved a resolution that'll raise the age of tobacco sales in the city to 21.
What are they doing about the drive-by on my street last Friday night? Idiots.
Resolution will go into effect October 1st. Currently, the legal age is 18. Councilmember Andrew Johnson, who co-authored the resolution, said the measure brings Minneapolis in line with other neighboring communities.
What a bunch of jackasses.
Morons.
I'm going to stand out in front of the convenience store like a couple hours a week. And if the kids come, I'll buy a cigarette.
Misguided idiots. You know what we should do? We should walk down with $500, buy a whole bunch of cartons of cigarettes, stand around and pass them out.
Yes.
Go right down to Nicollet Mall and pass out.
Actually, my the little convenience store I go to is in Crystal, because we got the border right there. I think Crystal will be the last place to go to 21.
I hope so.
That's half the income for the city.
With all the white trash in that town.
Whoops. My neighbors you're talking about there.
I'm only joking.
A Russian oligarch who was questioned by special counsel Robert Mueller and recently sanctioned by U.S. President Donald Trump's personal attorney, met Donald Trump's, personal attorney Michael Cohen in Trump Tower during the presidential transition, according to a video reviewed by CNN and a person familiar with the matter. It was January 9th, 2017, Trump Tower appearance by Victor Vekselberg.
Oh, man.
Which was also reported by the New York Times today, adds to the question swirling over the payments to Cohen, which Mueller's team questioned Vekselberg about after the FBI stopped his private jet at a New York area airport earlier this year.
John, I always have said that I want my next career to be as a barista.
Yes.
But oligarch wouldn't be bad either. It'd be nice to be an oligarch.
I think that pays better.
Yeah, be an oligarch.
Isn't there always a chance when you're that you could end up beheaded and hanging upside down from a lamppost?
That's true, yeah. I think Mussolini was sort of an oligarch. Yeah. It didn't end well for him.
Eventually your head is going to leave your shoulders.
You got to take some chances, Kenny.
And then the bad thing is that not only do they cut your head off and split you open, but then they let you hang there for about 4 days.
Drain out.
Sometimes the oligarchs do come to a sad end. There's no doubt about it.
India's white marble Taj Mahal is having some problems.
Oh, no.
It's turning yellow and green as the 17th century mausoleum weathers filthy air in the world's 8th most polluted city. One of the 7 wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal flanks a garbage-strewn river, and it's often enveloped by dust and smog from smokestacks and vehicles in the northern city of Agra. Tiny insects from the drying Yamuna River, into which the city pours its sewage, crawl into the Taj Mahal, their excrement further staining the marble, according to an environmental lawyer talking to India's Supreme Court.
What are we going to do about it, Johnny?
The court
Can't move the Taj Mahal.
I mean, is it okay to breathe there? I mean, my goodness.
Restorers have been using a paste made of a clay mineral to clean the marble. It pulls away impurities from the surface and then can be washed off with water, but they're having a hard time keeping up. The court slammed the government for not doing enough to preserve the monument, which was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan as a mausoleum for his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Mm-hmm. Did you know that? I didn't know
I knew
that.
that.
Oh, sure. Who doesn't?
I didn't know any of that.
You know what? I crossed India off my list of world visits I want to make when I saw Slumdog Millionaire. When that kid jumped in the poop, that was it for me.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
It seems very sweaty.
Yes, it does. And it gets hot there in the summer, too, right? Yeah.
I like my
You
air
got
conditioner.
poop in the streets and heat. That's just not a bad, that's a bad combination.
Remember, the cow is also sacred, so they get to walk through the streets as you are. So
that's right.
that creates more of a problem, obviously.
And they don't probably clean up after themselves either, right?
So if an
Somebody
agency
else-
comes calling, you and Kenny are not going to be doing the
Not gonna
Visit
leave the-
India tourism video.
We're not going to do the Ray and Ramona trip to India. To hell with it. Ray Christensen, I admired that man. He never went anywhere that he paid for himself in his entire. He and Ramona would go any damn place as long as
Someone was
else
footing the bill?
Footing the bill.
Who does that remind you of, sir? Our own rookie. Who will take a second job in order not to pay.
Well, that's okay. Wait till next week. We'll really get on him. There's okay. All right, we'll be back, John. So they just had a mugshot of Harvey Weinstein here in court today. He's not looking too good, but I've had this question since Harvey got popped for being one of the great molesters in history of, just a pervert.
Okay.
But you look at Harvey, fat white guy, he ain't got much of a unit, right? I mean, it's nothing to write home about.
Thimble.
Right? Yeah. So why did he want everybody to see it in the shower and stuff like that? You'd think he would have said, turn the lights off.
Dear God.
No, I think you make a good point.
I do make a good point. Why did he want these poor gals?
Harvey,
look
where is it?
Yes, right. Because no matter what he got away with it, when they left, they were telling their friends, "You should see you need a microscope to find this thing. You
It's like a light switch.
You can tell Harvey has got a small unit, and I can't understand why he was so damn proud of it."
I used to work with a guy, did a morning show, and it's not the guy you think. It's before him. And he made his way around town, dragged it through every suburb in the metro area. And
Dragged it.
Well, which is a poor choice of words because seriously, like a pinky toe. And all the ladies that he was with love talking about it. Yeah.
That's Harvey, too.
It's just how embarrassing. Keep that thing hidden.
Right. Yeah,
All right, write his name down.
Get a prosthesis or something.
Paul's prosthesis palace.
Unless Harvey had a transplant, there's nothing going on there. Here's Johnny Heidt.
Take it away, John.
Yeah.
Well, I have an update.
Yes.
Remember we told you Embassy Suites in Vegas pulled out of hosting the world's biggest orgy?
Yes.
Well, don't...
the Harvey Weinstein Memorial orgy.
Don't be worried. It's relocating to the nearby Erotic Heritage Museum.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was an erotic heritage museum
In
out
Vegas, apparently, yeah.
Wow.
The 5-day sex festival called Sin City 8 kicks off on June 2nd. It'll feature a Playboy Bunny-style pool party and sex toy demos. The huge sex orgy is the big finale. Organizers say they expect to easily beat the record of 500 orgy goers set several years ago in Tokyo.
Johnny, I think that was very, we kind of played off one another there. I led into that story for you.
I didn't expect it, but yeah.
It was a segue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite the segue.
Very, very good.
And I'm going to change the subject completely. Patrick, have you ever been at the track when they've had to dispatch a horse and they bring out the blinders, the big curtain?
That's no fun. Yeah.
So about 10 minutes ago, there was a deer wounded laying on the shoulder of westbound 694 at Silver Lake Road, and he was struggling, and it was quite the sad scene. They actually stopped all traffic on westbound 694.
So they wouldn't have to watch
about
him
a
put him
half
away.
a mile short of this, and then they drug him over to the right shoulder, and they sent Bambi to heaven.
Well, good. That's what you should do.
Yeah, westbound 694 is moving again. Yeah, people aren't, especially city folk, they're not ready to see that.
They want him to go to the North Memorial and
Right.
be fixed.
Right.
Helicoptered out.
They are not ready to
It's a
see
deer.
that.
We got plenty of them.
And some of them are running around through North Minneapolis on West Broadway Avenue.
That's right, being chased by turkeys.
That reminds me when we were, when William was a couple of years old, he's probably 3 or 4, and there was a dog on the side of the road, and you try to just, hey, look at look way over there, but he noticed and he said, Dad, why would that dog be lying on the road? Is he tired? Yeah, well, but here's the deal.
Very creepy.
White House gift shop has put its commemorative North Korean summit coins on sale. This happened after President Trump announced he'd canceled his meeting with Kim Jong-un. It was listed yesterday as the deal of the day, which appears to have crashed or shut down the site for a short time. Original price of the coin was $24.95. They were on sale yesterday and as of this morning for $19.95.
$19.95. It's going to be a terrific deal. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be terrific. You'll love it. Believe me.
A big hit,
This
sir?
was
A big hit?
the greatest summit that never took place. There's never been a greater summit than this.
Today he was trying to revive it. I don't know if you guys saw that story. He said, yeah, it still could happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody cancels their golf round. And,
Boy, there was a point last week that I really had my hopes up. I thought, is the world going to change under his watch?
Yeah.
Well, not exactly.
This story,
what really happened, though, is China came over and talked to the guy.
It had to be. That had to be.
You're our buddy. You're not going to be their buddy and our buddy. You got to make up your minds.
This story, I didn't know what to think. I still don't. It was an emotional moment when an elderly couple were reunited with their car a week after they forgot where they had parked it. This happened in Great Britain. It was 80-year-old Emmanuel Elliott and 79-year-old Hilda Farmer. They sparked a massive search, which had a happy ending earlier this week. Wow. The pair lost their silver Ford Fiesta in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, after visiting the posh spa town from their home in Gloucester. A massive appeal went out. Martin Tyler, a builder in the area, discovered it in a totally different place from where Hilda thought it was. The car was in a car park with 3 parking tickets, which local authorities says would be looked on sympathetically. It all happened when
he's paying for that, too. Where'd we park the car?
No, it's not his fault.
It was her fault.
Well,
Hilda was supposed to remember.
Hang on. Well, let me give you the details here.
Sorry, John.
The mishap happened when Emmanuel went for a hospital appointment. Then Hilda took the car to park it.
Okay.
No spaces in the hospital car parking lot. Hilda drove off to find another spot.
Okay.
She faced a half-hour walk from the parking space to the hospital and had to ask passerbys for directions to the hospital 5 times. So when it came time to find the car again, she had no idea.
Yeah, no shot.
Hilda admits the place she thought she might have left it may have come from a dream she had.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, now the good news for Hilda and the husband, they found the car, but now they have been invited to come and retake their driver's test to see if we're going to have them on roads anymore.
There actually was a $200 reward, what equals $200 roughly, for the first person to find the car, which they bought back in 2016. Hilda said police, everyone had forgotten where they put their car, but usually they put it in a multi-story parking ramp. We just put it on the street and couldn't find it. Right. The car was finally found in the
Why did they choose to tell people about this?
No kidding.
Well, they put an appeal out, a public appeal to find the car.
So Reavers mentioned the fight. That reminded me of the scene in Jackie Brown where Robert De Niro and Bridget Fonda, have a little bit of a disagreement in the parking lot.
Call it that.
She's mocking him, and he shoots and kills her.
Then he gets in the car and has to explain it.
what's his name with the funny beard, and then he ends up getting shot.
That's a great movie.
Isn't it the best?
That was one of Tarantino's best ones, man. That was fantastic.
But him at the end of that movie, Manny, not getting in that car and driving off with her, that does not sit right with me.
One of the great lines ever De Niro's ever uttered, though. That hit the spot.
Hit the spot.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, thank you.
You bet.
So I tried to watch the Gopher game last night. You know, it started at 10 o'clock.
I know.
Started at 10 o'clock. What are they waiting for? Why did they take a 2-hour break between sessions? Nobody's going to come there anyway. Just play them back to back.
I got home late because I was here doing the beer show, and I did a couple things around the house. I thought, well, I'll turn it on at 9 o'clock, and there was some programming. I'm like, well, okay.
Why are they doing that?
I didn't get it.
Why do they take an hour between games? Why did go someplace else and take infield and then come and be ready to play in 20 minutes?
Right.
It's preposterous, the whole thing. And by the way, Major League Baseball is played at a breakneck speed compared to the colleges. They will have a conference about anything. Takes forever. Anyway, this Reggie Meyer kid threw really good last night.
He was pretty good.
Gophers win 3-0. They get today off and will play. I'm still confused as to who they're going to play. Michigan, Ohio State winner is what it's saying, but if you look at but they were supposed to stay in the same bracket, I thought, so I don't know. But they got their ace, still hasn't pitched yet, Frederickson.
And that game will be tomorrow, you said?
Tomorrow morning, and then that team, whoever they're playing, is going to have to beat them twice to get to the championship game. We'll be back.